We are now joined by Jaguars tight end Dan Arnold. Dan, before we go any further, I saw the photos of you before training camp got started. The hair, the flow. Isn't it a little bit hot for that? Are you glad you cut it off?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I guess the best word is probably untamed. So yeah, I went home for that 5-week period and had to make some changes before it came down to the humidity. So,
well, home is up in do you consider home Wisconsin, North Dakota? What do you actually consider home?
Wisconsin. So we live up there in Platteville where I went to school. It's a great place to live. So we bought a house two years ago, and that's where we live in the off season. It's awesome.
A little birdie from Jaguars PR informed me you weren't just working out, getting ready for the season up in Platteville. You actually had a job you were working on. Can you tell us more about it?
Are you talking about coaching and stuff?
Yeah.
It's something to do every off season. They usually do spring ball right around the time, right before we're going down to OTAs. So I've always, gave my 2 cents back to Coach Munz, who, he was my offensive coordinator when I was there. Great friend of mine, mentor. Just helping out those young guys as much as possible, just giving back to the school and Josh.
Lots of
I love this guy.
Well, so I was also informed that you actually were on the selection committee this summer. What was that to pick the next head coach of Platteville? Yes. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They asked me. It was kind of the senior donors committee for the next head coach there. We interviewed the last 3 candidates for the head coaching position there. It was a cool process. Got to meet some of the higher ups in Platteville and just kind of go through an interviewer process, I guess. I've never really been a part of that, but it was interesting to kind of see some of the guys and be able to ask the questions. And I guess for any interviews that I have moving forward, it definitely helped what I could potentially be asked and how to answer questions. So.
You mean like this interview right now?
Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. Let's bring your Platteville experience to Jacksonville. What year is this again for you now entering?
This is going into 6.
So year 6, you're a guy from, I don't think people realize that you went to UW Platteville.
Yeah.
Year 6, but do you still have a chip on your shoulder knowing that you didn't come out of a big, Power 5 program, that, maybe you weren't a drafted guy?
Yeah. It's definitely like, you always have that I have to work harder than everybody else mentality. You still feel like you got to prove yourself every day, even going into year 6, that other guys are going to have, the bigger benefit of the doubt. And it's always something I'm going to have to deal with throughout my career, but I embrace it, and it's, kind of a part of who I've become and who I am as a player. It's that love of the game kind of mentality that you're just like, who cares? I'm just going to play football.
Absolutely. For you last year, I'm sure, there was obviously some things that went on last year. But for you, I think what we don't talk about is you started the year in Carolina, then you're in Jacksonville, then you're on the injured list. When you look back and reflect on last year, how would you describe it?
I would say a lot of lessons learned. Training camp in Carolina was, I don't think I approached it as best as I should have in the offseason. And I definitely, had a lot better approach this offseason. And I kind of got complacent a little bit, and that may or may not have led to the trade. I have no idea. It was definitely interesting coming into a situation like it was last year and just kind of focusing on being a professional no matter what, kind of limiting out the distractions more than all. And I think I really grew as kind of that more veteran player that's like, everything can hit the fan, doesn't even matter, but like you just got to figure out a way to do your job, embrace those guys around you, love on them, like be able to be the best teammate possible, and just kind of be able to make it through any situation no matter what.
That tight end room got a couple additions this offseason. What was your reaction to those signings, and how has the room come together over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think it's awesome the amount of weapons that we're adding. I texted Evan, I was like, dude, let's go eat, kind of when it happened. I texted Trevor, I was like, how excited are you? After I played with, obviously, Christian in Arizona, and then adding Evan too, it's like, I knew, like, how much potential we're going to have as an offense. Because at the end of the day, it's like one guy could eat on one game, and then, the next week another guy's going to eat. It's just awesome when you can play on each other's energy and, like, just really be the best teammates that you can, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, guys are going to have their stats and yards at the end of the season. It doesn't really matter. But if we all win a Super Bowl, like, that's something you can't take away from you 30 years down the road, 40 years down the road. So that's the ultimate goal, and that's what's going to come.
Why, with this personnel, does Doug Pederson's scheme and Doug Pederson work so well?
He's just got the experience of like figuring out how to open those up for tight ends, creating those mismatches with being able to personnel them to death and just get the right mismatches. Evans, that speedster that's going to be able to run those option routes, that's going to be quick out of breaks and stuff, that's going to create those separation. And then the yak, I think they see me more as like a let's stretch the field, run those deep balls. And it just works so well together. And the offense, I feel like the scheme-wise, just like we're all doing what we're good at on each and every play. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the secret to it is like, okay, let's have whatever that guy is really good at, we're going to have him do that. And then we're going to create plays where like all of those guys can all do their really good things on one play. And that's kind of what I see from this scheme, and I love it. I think it's going to be awesome.
How have you seen Trevor grow in that scheme from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think, his confidence timing is his biggest thing. Like, he's hitting balls on the throw right out of breaks, whereas last year, just having that, just timidness a little bit sometimes where it's like he's making accurate throws, but he just isn't completely sure of himself. But you see that confidence starting to grow. You see that, that young calf growing up into that old bull, But I'm excited for him. Like, he just seems like he's so much happier, like excited, like ready to just like let's go win football games. And that's all you want out of a quarterback. Who's just ready to sit back there, gunsling it, put it in windows that are super small and put the ball right on you. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dan. This is awesome. The interviewing skills clearly on display. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Mia.